Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of Afternoon FM. Today I am joined by artist, poet. I recently found out ventriloquist, like reggae, like pseudo reggae, like dance hall. It was like some of them were like dance hall, and some of them were like there's Hallelujah. There's some musician.
Yeah, I have a rap song too.
Sam Bemba, ladies and gentlemen.
Sammy B.
Glad to have you at the studio today. It's been like kind of a saga getting you here.
Yeah. Well, I don't have a car except on like Thursdays and Fridays, cause my dad doesn't work those days, so I get to use his car. Otherwise, he works overnights, and it's just not like convenient for me to take his car because he needs it by 5:00. So it's like, by the time I need to go somewhere, he needs it. So I have to take public transportation everywhere.
So do I. It's New Jersey. I'm a New Jersey Transit head. Yeah, I'm a big fan of walking too. But yeah, no. Today we're gonna learn a little bit about Sam, about like her early life, the way she approaches her art. Listen to a couple tracks possibly, and just having
Yeah.
Yeah. Tell me about growing up. Like, where are you from?
So I am from Massachusetts, but I moved to Seattle, Washington when I was like 5. And then when I was 7, I moved to California. And then when I was 13, I moved to New Jersey. And since then, I've lived in like 13 different towns in New Jersey.
Really? Name some of these towns.
Yeah, Trenton, Ewing, Clementon, Marlton, Cherry Hill, Delran, Voorhees.
Heavy South Jersey.
A lot of South Jersey, but also Jersey City, Hoboken. So I want to say I was in South Jersey until I graduated high school, and then I went to TCNJ. So that's when I was living in Trenton and Ewing and stuff. And then after that, I moved up to North Jersey to like be with my boyfriend, I guess, at the time. That didn't work out. But anyway, I started doing open mics up in Jersey City. But now I live back in South Jersey, so I'm doing open mics in Philly and stuff.
Word. So how was your first open mic?
My first open mic, I actually have a video. Well, so I didn't take a video of like my face. I just took a video while I was performing so you can hear me perform. You know what I mean? And I've always just kind of like recorded myself because growing up, I did, for example, kondo, which is Japanese kendo, except it's Korean. So, and one of the things we would do is we would record ourselves so we could look at the way that we had done our stances and see how we can improve. So I just, recorded myself, and then I would just post it just to like be like, hey, look, I did a poem. Listen to it. You know what I mean?
This is before like the days of everybody exploiting themselves over social media platforms.
Well, so I've always had I was always on the internet. So when I was a kid, I was just always online. And at first it was things like forums. So I in college I used to have like my own forum for like my group of friends. And we would literally all have conversations and like just talk to each other on the forum. It was really, and actually I think you can still find it.
Chop a link.
Yeah. I think you can still find it.
What is this is like grass? Actually, I remember those. I remember the weed forums back in the day. It was like Grass City.
Oh yeah, that would. But yeah. So yeah, people used to chat on forums all the time, and so I just made my own forum for like my group of friends.
Word.
In college.
Pre-Discord. This is like
right, and then Facebook became a thing, and I was just always posting my thoughts and my poetry and my art and like my controversial opinions on there. And I guess I got kind of, like, everyone says I'm really popular. I don't really think I'm that popular though. But
I don't know, Sid. You're fucking your last event like fucking killed it.
right, but you know what?
Killed it.
It's true, but half of the people that came for the band, and I did not know who they were. Like, they weren't there for me. So
But still, it's a fucking great achievement,
Oh, well, thank you.
For the listeners, Sam hosts poetry and paintings.
Yes.
I think the next one is in March
16th.
March 16th.
Yes. You can go on poetryandpaintings.org.
Is it? But you have poetry and
Yeah.
paintings?
I bought it.
Internet real estate tycoon.
Right, you gotta get it now before they up the price.
Yeah.
So I bought that domain. So now if you go on poetryandpaintings.org, it like links you to past events, so you can see like the past artists and stuff, and also the current events. So and yeah.
When did you get into poetry, son?
When did I do? So I was just thinking about this the other day. The first poetry performance I ever did, it wasn't my own poem, but I was in a gifted and talented community education program, and we had a public speaker. She was like an actress, and she would come to our school after school and give us extra lessons on like public speaking and being confident and doing all that shit. So I performed a piece. It was called My Sister's for Sale. It went like, my sister's for sale, when crying, something sister for sale. And it went on like that. And I remember I actually took my sister with me out on the stage, and she thought I was actually selling her, and that's why, like, in front of this whole crowd, and like I was gonna sell her, and she started crying hysterically while I was performing.
Jesus.
yeah, so I traumatized her, unfortunately.
Does she still think she's for sale?
I can't answer that because she is right now struggling through some addiction problems. So I don't really know where she is right now. So.
My sister as well.
Yeah.
My sister Christine is like, I don't know. It's just it's a very long troubling process.
Yeah.
But yeah, no.
I have a song about her actually. Yeah.
You got it on you?
I think I do. It's I've never recorded it on like, I only ever recorded it like as a video. So it's like on my Instagram, like if you like go all the way back. I can pull it up, but
if either way,
I can spit it right now if you want. I have it memory. Yeah.
Rock it.
So it goes like, I got some shit I really want to say to you. I don't think you really know how much it is I pray for you. You're always on my mind and you're always in my thoughts. I think about you dying and I just feel fucking lost. Remember when we grew up and you were always by my side? Our parents would start yelling and I held you when you cried. I told you I would find a job and we would live together and I'd take you from this shitty life and somehow I'd make it better. And I'm still trying. I haven't got my shit together yet, but it's a promise that to this day I just can't forget. Man, I fucking failed you and failed you and you know it too, but that doesn't mean that getting high is what you gotta do. You don't know how much I love you. And yeah, it goes on like that.
My God, that's gotta be some like crazy like range, like starting like your thing with your sister and then going into like continuing on. What is like the range between like the first poem, My Sister's for Sale, and that one? Like how many years has that been?
How many? That was when I was seven or eight. No, yeah. I was 8 years old. I was 8, right?
When did you write that last piece?
that last piece, that was the first rap I wrote, because I wrote that to a beat, because it's very like da da da. You know what I mean? It has a cadence and a flow to it. So I did it to music originally. It actually, you don't know how much I love you. You don't know how much I love you. But, I could just perform it as a poem too,
Express some dirt off your shoulder. No, yeah, that's like, it's gotta be like so, like going back to the first subject and then going into that. It's had to be like a very like deep thing.
Yeah, I do think that like poetry for me it's not like, I'm not like writing to be like, all right, I'm going to perform this for a crowd and get my social media views up. Like, I really don't give a fuck about my social media. I just have all the stats on because Instagram was like, hey, you're popular enough that you can have all these stats. Do you want to look at it? And I was like, yeah, why not? Like, oh, look at all these extra people following me that I wouldn't have known about until I turned my stats on.
Such a wild goose chase.
Yeah, it's really weird. It's
the entire. But you're not writing poetry for the views.
No, I'm really not. It's I reached 2,000 accounts apparently in the past 30 days. That's cool, but like
subtle flex.
Yeah, no,
subtle flex, subtle flex. Just 2,000 accounts in the past.
No, but like it's not that much in the world of social media.
Nah, it doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter. It's really not that much. It's just like
It's so what are you writing for if it's not the views?
I'm
or the crowd or any of the attention. Like what are you writing for?
Well, usually when I write something, it's usually to someone. Like it is like
messages.
Right, every song or every poem or like there's few poems that aren't a message to somebody. So it's like, all right, is she throwing shade in this poem? I mean, if you want to call it shade, but you can.
Oh man.
But it's really,
It's like Tupac's hit him up in a poetry cadence.
Well, it's just like I find it really hard to talk to people sometimes. And
you get the message across.
Like I need to get it one way or another, and it's like whether I do it in like my Instagram rants, because I do that on my Instagram stories where I'm talking about my problems, or whether it's in my poem, which is just me talking about either my problems or like my feelings about somebody or like a memory or like, and it's not always like direct. Like here is my memory of you, but it's representative of that sometimes, but it's still like I'm writing this for you. I don't give a fuck about anybody else. I'm writing this for you because I need to like say what I need to say, because if I don't, I will literally kill myself.
We had the film commissioner here, and it was crazy. It's a long story. The episode actually dropped today, but he was talking about doing something that keeps you like creatively sane.
Right.
So mine is photography, and this is one of the things too. It's like I have to like trick my mind into doing like
something.
Yeah, like photography. I end up finding subjects the deepest. Or even in writing, like my films are like my babies. Photography is like my like daily masturbation, where I'm like, all right, here's like a subject, here's a subject, here's a subject. You know what I mean? Like as much as I can like release, because every like photo is like a form of release. Every podcast is kind of dropping is like a form of release. It's like and it's a release for like you could talk about like your life, and then like I get into thinking about my life, and I'm like oh well, like like my sister Christine, like I haven't really thought about her in months, because it's just life is so fast. it's like it's this fucking river that just keeps like flowing. Like right now, I what's it called? Like my family's house is in like tax sale, and like everybody's like looking at each other like, what are we gonna do? And my dad's like crazy, so it's all just a bunch of it. So, and it was like my mind would just like live like and in that fucking like hell of like, oh, we're gonna like lose my grandpa's house, oh, my grandmother, you know, all this. Like it's like with the photos, man, it's not even me, you know what I mean? It's like I can really like I can release in it, and it's like, you know, like some people paint, some people I do drawing and painting, but like the photos are like my way of just, you know, just.
Oh no, I totally get that, because like I take so I take a lot of like pictures of myself, or like, you know, I have photographers take pictures of me, I guess I should say, but like.
Yeah, you were at the pink shoot.
Yeah, absolutely I was. But like
shout out to Evan and John Powell.
Word. And I feel like I just like to take pictures of myself because like nobody ever takes pictures of me. So, you know, I try to get people to take pictures of me. Like at first it was like my friends who were in photography school, you know, and they just wanted to take cool pictures and they needed someone, so I would do it. And then like eventually I started getting Joanne Neal photography. She did my pictures because she wanted to do like high fashion photo shoots, and she was like, oh, you have like that look about you, and I was like, okay, yeah, I'll do it. And like it was a little bit unfortunate because when I did my shoots with her, I was like a little bit sick, so I didn't look like the best, but still, I guess it looked good enough because then another photographer, Evan, did my other photos. Yeah. And then A.O. Cannon from Rec Philly, he started doing my photos. So now it's just like I have all these pictures of me that are like really high quality.
Yeah, you look back at them a lot.
Yeah. But I like taking those pictures because when I'm sick, like I don't want to take pictures of myself. And actually, I've forced myself to take pictures of myself anyway, and I post them anyway, just because I'm like, no, I can't be fake, and because people are gonna think I'm a catfish. Yeah. So I will take pictures. I did a whole series. It was called the Catfish series because I would take pictures of myself, but I wouldn't like how I looked. Yeah. So then I would take the selfies and edit them to the point that they weren't like, it didn't look like me. It looked like an art piece. Yeah. So. You know, I did the Selfies Are Selfish series.
I feel like I always have a problem taking photos of myself, ironically. Like, I don't know. I never like. I don't know.
You should start then.
I try, but it's I always like I try to like. I never really like to make eye contact in photos. I'm very like a lot of my profile photos were all like fucking. I just either turn my back or I'm looking at a view or I'm just like looking at shit, and I just those are the ones I like the most, is when I have like, I don't know, I feel like a little bit of like not detached, but like I don't know. I was raised in a house where there was like a lot of my dad was very like ego heavy. And like it's weird. It like kind of lashed out, like even my brothers and like my brother and like my sister. But like I don't know. For me, it feels like weird. Like I always feel like weird, like looking at myself. I don't know why.
I think that's why you should start though. Yeah. I think that, so I feel like anything that's like you really don't want to do is the thing you should do. I feel that way about poetry and paintings. Yeah. I really don't want to do another one. Ever. I never want to do another one. You did
so good.
I know, but I never want to do another one. I want each one to be the last one I do, but then it's like so many other people want me to do it. And then it also happens to be that like, you know, I would get a grant, or like I would get, so right now I got I got approved for rent assistance. So like my rent is being paid for like a couple months. So I have extra money now. So it's like people are asking me to do it. I have this money now. So I'm like, all right, let me just do it one more time. But I swear to God, this is gonna be the last one. But then, someone else always happens to come up
Push
with it.
you.
Yeah, it's other people suck, man. Leave me alone.
No.
No, but then it's like I do it though, and then I feel good about myself afterwards. So
Yeah.
it's just like a lot of uncomfortable like stress before it's
Yeah.
over with.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I feel you on that show. I fucking just shot I just shot like the first 2 days of a documentary with Andy Dick.
Yeah.
I mean, this guy from like the late '90s. Like if you remember like Tom Green or like around like where Steve-O and shit is. He was like I did a lot of research on him. Like so we basically just went over with a camera and was talking to him, and I don't know. It's just a lot of pressure because like I spent like a month and a half like watching like Andy Dick's like films and like all this shit to be able to like ask him very like journalistic questions. And when we got there, it was like I was like, oh, it's just all this stress, but it was like it was cool. It's just working with like somebody who's like seen like it's like approaching subjects. Like I think it's always that anxiety of like the future. You know what I mean? Like because you always feel like when you're like stepping one step ahead mentally, you're just always, your foot is always just shaking because you don't know what. It's like the fear of the dark a little bit. You know?
Well, yeah, because it's like I never know who's going to show up. I assume nobody's going to show up because,
Yeah.
first of all, people will buy a ticket, but then the day of, they'll tell me they can't make it or they can't, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I just have to assume everybody's going to, everyone's car is going to break down. Everybody, like, nobody's going to show
Yeah,
up.
you got a
Like,
foot in the future.
yeah. And, and I have to tell myself, like, if nobody comes and it's just me and, like, Rashad and, like, just a couple
Still
people.
a good time.
Right, it's still a good time. And, like, hopefully the poets that I paid to be here won't mind because I paid them. So it doesn't matter. You know what I mean? Like, all right, you didn't, So if you want it to be a big show, like, please sell tickets. But otherwise, like, I'll do my best. But if nobody comes, then nobody comes, and it's just a private show for me.
Doesn't matter.
I spent over $1,000 just for myself then, and that's got to be okay. You know what I mean? It's got to be okay.
It's okay. It's okay. We're just chilling.
Right. But I feel a lot of pressure from other people because they're like, you're building a brand, and I'm like, no, I'm I'm partying with my friends, and this is a private.
You have a .org now. You're a .org.
Well, that doesn't mean anything,
You're
though.
an org, yeah. You're an organization.
Well,
Poetry and paintings is the movement.
if the organization is me, then yes.
Think of all the great orgs that it is. The Red Cross, NAMBLA.
Yeah. Yeah. No, so far the organization is just me and like the random volunteers that may or may not show up the day of. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, if anybody wants to be part of my team, please hit me up.
Anybody listening?
Because I can't do it by myself. You know what I'm saying? And there's a lot of people who want me to do it. But it's like, okay, but I can't do it by myself, though. There's just a lot of moving parts. And, like, the problem with being multi-dimensional artist is that, like, for my show, if I don't have an artist, I'll just bring my art.
Yeah.
If I don't have a musician, I'll just sing.
Yeah.
If I don't have anyone signed up for my open mic, I'll just perform another poem. It's fine.
Yeah.
It's fine. But then it's a headache if I have to do everything at once,
Yeah. No, I fucking feel you on that. Yeah, no, I feel you. Yeah, I'm like, I don't know.
So, I've tried
I'm like that with films. I'm like,
I'm like,
if I can't get somebody that I could do like like fucking man camera, I'm manning camera. If it's like if I have to fucking do the sound, I'm doing the sound. Like you have to do it because the
Yeah.
film must go on or the show must go on.
Right. And
Yeah.
it's like if too many things go wrong at once, it's a headache, and everything always goes wrong. Like there's always at least two.
There's always something that goes wrong, but it
two
feels so
vendors,
right.
Right? Yeah, it's like that's all I care about is if everyone else comes up to me at the end of it and says, "Thank you so much.
Yeah.
I had a great time. This is amazing. Please do it again." Then I'm like, "All right, maybe I'll consider doing it again." You know? But I need everyone to understand.
I will consider.
I need everyone to understand if I choose to do it again, it's because I
hold the power of
Right,
poetry and paintings, motherfuckers.
It's because I'm
You don't
blessing
control
you.
me.
I can kick you out real fast if you don't respect the mic. So,
That's word. Oh,
Yeah.
This is a warning to all you
right.
motherfuckers.
Like, I don't give a fuck. You paid money to come. I'll pay you to leave. Like,
Oh shit. Well, do you recall any times that you ever like bombed, like on poetry? Like, was there ever like, I think Tiger. And shout out to Tiger. Tiger is the broker of the Tiger. I had him on a show, and he was just such a fucking awesome dude. And then afterward, he referred like a lot of like my DM was like, "Yo, Tiger sent me." I was like, what? And there's just like bad poets. I was like, what?
yeah.
Yeah, Tiger's such a cool dude. But what's it called? Tiger. I was watching one of his live streams.
Yeah.
And what the fuck was he saying? He was like, I think he was talking about like poets like bombing. And he's like if a band like sucks. I could be butchering this. I'm sorry, Tiger.
Yeah, no,
I'm
paraphrasing.
I'm
here.
paraphrasing. He was like, if a band bombs, like, people are like, they don't hear it. He's like, but poets is like, it's a very like a supportive community. But like, has there ever been a time where you ever like bombed, like, where it's been like, just no reception or like shitty reception?
So it depends. I feel like sometimes I don't get a reaction from the crowd during my poem, but I also feel like it's because they're listening. And if they're not listening, there's always someone shushing them. You know what I mean? Like, people want to hear what I'm saying for the most part, or, are interested, I guess. So, and I always get feedback afterwards. And it is from, it's funny because conservative people actually do tend to like my poetry.
Really?
Yeah. I actually, Christian people like my poetry. People who they're conservative, I don't know how to like explain how I know they're conservative, but you know how you
conservative are you talking?
Well,
and emotionally conservative.
Well, definitely like emotionally conservative, but sometimes even the Trump people like me. Yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah, because there's quite a few Trumpers on my Facebook account, and I'm just like, I don't understand why you like me, because like this is the opposite of like what I believe in, and I feel like I make it very clear, but I don't know. I feel like if I can get someone who I don't agree with to like me and what I'm saying, regardless of like my views and their views.
It's a win.
Then it means that there's still a connection there. And I feel like if people focus more on like how they connect instead of how they differ, then maybe,
Do you have a favorite piece?
Oh God. I wrote one recently. I want to say it's my favorite because it's about my friend / I guess my lover. I don't know, but he was poly or open or whatever. So, and I've known him since I was like 19, 20. So it's been like, I'm 31, turning 32. So it's been a decade of us. Like, I date people and I wouldn't, when I'm with someone, I don't engage with polyamorous couples, you know? But like, I know they're there, you know? I still say hi. And and you know, when I break up with them, then it's like, hello again, I'm back, and it's fine. So, you know, I had that relationship with him. So, and he passed away this past November. So, I just recently finished a poem about him. So
if we hear it.
Yeah, you can hear it. Hold on, let me get my poetry out. I can you know, I just smoked. You asked me to perform these pieces.
This is like Hot Ones with fucking.
Yeah, right? It's like, go, perform, dance, monkey, dance. All right, I'll dance. It's all right. All right. But yeah, but I do still cry when I perform this piece. Hopefully I won't cry, but anyway. Louis was a big man, 265 pounds of pure Puerto Rican party machine, even though when I met him, he was only 173. I was only 19. He met me at a party I invited his girlfriend to where he met Mark and left him, which was fine with him because that just meant he was free to fuck me. He became poly and we would fuck on the kitchen counter, on his beanbag sofa, in his bed. We would fuck multiple girls. We even fucked with multiple men. He was just free spiritually and sexually. His home was the foster home for all of his abandoned kittens, girls always coming in and out of his house, smoking his weed and eating his food because he gave it all so willingly. He was a force that was generous, a high IQ and all of the rebelliousness to make it not matter. He would party and play his remixes on his DJ machine and sniff cocaine that I'd never do off of my breasts after taking a hit from his bong. Like, yeah, he was living the life, which must be why his life was cut short. He had already experienced so much of it. His heart had to give because he had filled it with so much cocaine, Chinese food, and love, even when it didn't feel like it. I remember one time he told me to stop crying and being cringe on social media. Trigger me timbers, he shouted. You are Trigosaurus Rex. You're just fucking triggered. He would make me fucking cry just to tell me he understood why I did it. He would say, not everyone deserves my energy, and sometimes I wave my red flags because then they'll never know the treasure hiding behind them, how precious I truly was, and those red flags weren't that big compared to other girls anyway. I just always knew how to magnify, turn every little moment into a movie, every word holding its own story to be told. He said to protect my energy no matter who told me I was being too much. I was always just enough, and if they don't accept you, then fuck them. We can say fuck them and move to Vegas, start an OnlyFans, and fuck each other's money away. It's not like you don't love being in front of a camera. I mean, we both did. He would send me dick pics of the highest art form, draw on his penis to give it faces. He'd make it a Jedi, give it a lightsaber, texted it to me on the 4th of July, said, "May the 4th be with you." On September 11th, he made his dick the Twin Tower and the plane. I can't even explain how fucking funny it is. You just have to see it. It was the only time I ever wanted a dick pic unsolicited. He always made me smile. He always wiped my tears away, told me it would be okay. Then he would fuck my stress away. I miss him. I love him. I mean, I loved him. There was no one else above him. I always knew he was one of my partners for life. I didn't need to be his wife. No matter who he was dating or who I was seeing, I knew at the end of it all, Lewis would be there, fat and tall, tattooed and doing cocaine and ready to fuck me until he died. So now that you've died, what do I do with the rest of my life without you? How could your heart fail when it never failed anyone else? There were so many people at your funeral that I recognized. It felt like we should be at your house, smoking your weed and ordering Chinese food instead of in that funeral home. When I saw my picture with you on the slideshow your stepmom made, I never knew. I never took enough pictures of you because I never felt like I needed to. I never knew I was taking you for granted. You were always so stable, always there for me. I hugged you tight and made plans to see you more often 3 weeks before you left me. And if I could do it all over again, I would tell you to stop fucking around and lose the weight. Drink more water. Don't do drugs. Sleep more. Fuck me harder. Hug me longer. And don't let go. Thank you.
That was so beautiful.
Thank you. Yeah, so I cried. It was just a big shocker.
No, that was so beautiful, Sam. Thank you so much for sharing that.
Yeah.
Jeez.
Yeah. So
Breathe Deep is brought to you by Yogi Breathe Deep Tea.
Wonderful.
How did it feel after writing that?
I finished it and then I performed it at an open mic, like pretty much immediately. So, it felt good to release it. And you know, it still feels good to release it because I still am releasing it. I mean, it's just I lost him in November.
Yeah.
That was really only it's 3-4 months ago.
Yeah. Still even processing. I'm sorry, Sam.
No, it's okay. But I wrote a nice poem at least, kind of. I mean, like, I don't know if it's too much information for some people, and I understand that, but like it's real, so like that's what I remember about him. Yeah. And like there's some bad things I remember about him too that I didn't add in the poem because I didn't feel like I needed to, but
I don't know, like, you know. It's, you know, you're like the author, you know, you have to like, I don't know. Yeah. When did you really start getting like the flow of it? Like you go from like My Sister Is For Sale to like this range, you know? And like when did you like, was there a specific time where you really fell in love with poetry? Like this is like I'm gonna fucking do this. Like I am this. Like when you came to the point of like I am this, like self-actualization.
So I don't feel like I've gotten there yet, but
What?
I'm just like, I don't know why everyone calls me a poet, but I'm gonna call myself a poet because everyone else is calling me a poet. Like that's really my mindset, and people are always like,
Well, you haven't gotten to it yet.
I just don't. I think I'm still.
You're gonna always kick the rock a little farther.
Yeah.
Like once you hit this thing, but I fucked up. That was like nobody's ever really happy with what, like, you know what I mean? Like you could do all this shit, and it's like anytime your like mind gets to a certain thing, it ends up like kicking a rock a little bit farther. And I'm like, nah, I'm not a fucking filmmaker. Like I did like a short film. I'm like, no, I'm not a filmmaker. I don't have a feature. No, I never even did. I was like, no, none of them. You know what I mean? It's like it's just your mind like ends up kicking this fucking rock more and more down this hill, and it's like I don't know. It's imposter syndrome. I think that's what they call it.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure that is part of it, but I also just think that I I started performing poetry because I was mad at someone that they were not hooking up with me anymore.
So you were like, I'm gonna blast this motherfucker on stage.
Right,
I'm
you're
gonna
right,
do, like, some fucking teen movies.
right, and it's just the reason I keep doing it is because there's always someone new to blast on stage. So
Oh my god.
No, I'm just kidding. Like I do think most of my poetry is very like forgiving of the other party.
Yeah, nah, the past two poems I got, except for my sister is for sale. When you started.
Well, that one is a joke.
When you sold your sister.
That one. So that one was a Roald Dahl poem that I performed. So it's not exactly my words. So I would never write my sister's for sale. But I actually do have a couple of poems about my sister that aren't about her drug addiction, but I have one just about like when we were kids. You know, we used to sleep in the same bed. You know, well, so we used to have my mom like sewed up this mattress thing. Because we had one mattress for me, but we didn't have one for my sister. So my mom had like sewn up a mattress like thing for her. But then I would always end up sleeping with my sister and like sleep on the floor with her, on the futon, I guess. So we just slept in the same bed. And then we got bunk beds later, and we still slept in the same bed.
There's that closeness.
Yeah. So it was like, a poem kind of how like we grew apart a little bit. So
it's crazy how like you find such beauty in like this like right now like I have a really good relationship with my grandmother. My mom is very distant. My mom like she rarely calls me, but I have to call her. It's like a little half and half, but I feel like my grandma calls me like every day. And I spent like 8 years in like California, and I'm coming back. Like I came back and I kind of just stayed because I wanted to spend my time with like my grandmother and be close to my grandmother while she's here. And it's weird. Like I tend to have the best photos of the people that I love the most. You know what I mean? Like I end up taking like my grandmother is always like my favorite. Like she's like my muse because she's just so like old and like she's unconditional. This like unconditional love that I feel, and it's like I want to reflect with like the best photos that I could possibly do. So I take every one of them as like and it's it's just stuff. It's gonna be the hardest thing to cut though. It's like I don't know. I just always end up finding like I center beauty on like subjects I love. Like I love my dog too, but I don't think I miss Chancey.
no, I totally understand that because I definitely take pictures and videos of people I love. Like I know people think I go to open mics to like videotape everyone, but I really don't. I really don't care. I really don't care. I'm just gonna videotape the people that I like and like I think are good and like if it's my open mic I'll post everyone. But
yeah.
Otherwise, I'm really just posting people I like or like I love or like I'm a fan of or like all of the above, like So yeah, it's I definitely feel like if you pay attention to like the things that I photograph, like if you had access to my Google Photos,
yeah,
you'd be able to tell who I love, what I care about. You know what I mean?
Yeah. When did you get into music?
Music, I have an answer for that one. Is I started going to this open mic in Trenton with I had a friend. His name was Benny. He also passed away, unfortunately. All of my friends have died. Anyway, he did an open mic at Applebee's. And I remember going over to his house and practicing music, and we would perform together. And there was one point where, like, I lived at his house, Um, and I just, would sleep at his house because I didn't really have a place to stay at the time. So he was really important to me. And, like, he relapsed. And he, like, his rent wasn't paid and stuff like that. So I lent him, like, $2,000-$3,000 or something like that. So, like, a ridiculous amount of money. And he did eventually pay me back. But, yeah, so I started doing open mics because of him. And then when I moved to Jersey City, there was an open mic down the street from my house, and I started going to that. And then from there, I met all the artists from, like, 660 at the time, because I had met Glenn Coleman at a neighborhood party that I had been invited to. And Glenn Coleman did a show at Burger Supreme where I met Benedicto Figueroa, who took me to 660. And then I met John Fathom and, Alex Pergament and all them people, and Rashad and all them. And I've just been friends with them ever since. And I feel like I only know, like, 5 people from Jersey City, but apparently everybody knows me. So it's fine.
Yeah, like, when did you start, like, recording, like, tracks?
So I started recording tracks when
tossed out like 6, she had like rap tracks, like fucking.
Oh yeah. I was recording since like high school, because I would record. We would get like projects, like write a poem or write a song or whatever. So like, I remember I wrote a song called Mrs. Dalloway for my English class. Yeah. And like, because I had to do like some sort of presentation on Mrs. Dalloway, but I didn't actually read the book. So I just like, the morning of, I recorded me singing this song that I wrote based off of the summary that I read off of Cliff Notes. And then I got an A, so it was fine.
Yeah. But yeah, can I hear one of your tracks?
Yeah. Well, we're gonna listen to the Jersey City, because I just released that on like the actual music, like Spotify, Apple Music, and all that.
Where?
All streaming platforms.
Where? So,
my username is the same as my Instagram, ITSBYMMAS. It's Sammy B backwards. Yeah, I
didn't know that.
Yeah, it is. It's Sammy B backwards. I don't know what's so hard to understand about it, but it apparently is. But do you need to turn the volume on? Yeah. Yeah.
Once upon a time, yeah, there was a man in Jersey City who lived in the cloud of poetry, and he wanted to be pretty, so he would pluck girls from the sky. He would bring them so damn high, and they didn't like that.
So if you're from Jersey City, you know what this is about. But anyway,
I'm blessed.
And
it's actually about multiple.
Show off the girls that he brought down, and they didn't like that. They didn't like that. But to be fair, he did say, baby, we're just for today. Don't get in this love too deep, 'cause this ain't a love that you can keep. That's just the way these things go. Sometimes you just got to know, when you're fucking with the hoe, it's not really personal, babe. But don't you know I really love you? Don't you know I really love you? Don't you know I really love you, baby? That's what all the girls say. Don't you know I really need you? Don't you know I really need you? Don't you know I really need you, baby? That's what all the girls say. Once upon a time, yeah, there was a man in Jersey City who lived in a bunch of music scenes, tags up the streets with his graffiti. So he would take what he could find, leave the rest of them behind. He rocks out in his city, so he would fuck then say goodbye. He would bring them so damn high, and they didn't like that because he always let them down. Cause he'd keep messing around, and he'd take them around town, show off the girls that he'd brought down, and they didn't like that, they didn't like that. But to be fair, he did say, baby, we're just for today. Don't get in this love too deep, cause this ain't love that you can keep. That's just the way these things go. Sometimes you just got to know when you're fucking with a hoe, it's not really personal, babe. But don't you know I really love you? Don't you know I really love you? Don't you know I really love you, baby? That's what all the hoes say. Don't you know I really need you? Don't you know I really need you? Don't you know I really need you, baby? That's what all the hoes say. Once upon a time, yeah, there was a man in Jersey City who lived in a cloud of poetry, and he wanted to be pretty so.
Word. That was great. Oh.
It's alright. But yeah, so yeah. That's what I mean. Like, yeah, I just you know, I just need to say what I gotta say. And I don't think I said anything bad. I just said, you know.
I just said what is.
Right, I just said what it is. I just said what it is, I think, you know. If you disagree, I'm sorry. But none of them have ever had a problem. Well, at least they never told me they had a problem with the song.
No.
So I assume it's okay. I mean, if it's not, then you should have said something like 6 years ago when I first posted it.
Oh, shit.
But you didn't, so I assume it's okay. Hopefully.
I don't know. So I don't know who the man in Jersey City is.
It's a couple people. It's a couple. So each one is a different person. So I did it 3 times. So because it was like I was just going through a cycle. These guys, you know what I mean? So I feel like that's why it's so repetitive. The song.
What is the what is this reoccurring theme in relationships that you're speaking of?
It's just like relationships that aren't actually relationships.
It's just fucking.
Yeah. And it's like, but you know, it's like I always, whoever, if I have sex with you, I probably love you, which is like for some people that might be too soon, but that's okay. Like it's just how I feel. You know what I mean? It doesn't have to be anything. But it does like hurt because sometimes. So you know, it's like the song. It's like, okay, there's a man in Jersey City, and then don't you know I love you? Well, no, that's what everybody says. Like everybody, because it's like everybody thinks that you are gonna be in love with the person that you're in love with forever.
Yeah.
Like that's your hope and your dream, right? But the reality is most people aren't suited for you.
Yeah.
And it has nothing to do with how much you love them. It's just like there's practical things and there's life things and there's traumas and there's a lot of other factors that go into choosing a partner. So it's not just about who you love, it's about like what does that person want? You know what I mean? And sometimes it's like they just want to fuck you and that's it. And but if you know that they're a hoe, then it's like, I don't know, it's my fault then because I'm still in it. So it's just like I wrote that because it's like I was in a place of like I it's just what it is. You know what I mean? I just had to accept that like that's what it was. And that was just my way of being like, okay, I just, that's what it is.
It's like signing. It's just signing it off.
Right, like, it's just, it is what it is. And, I stayed in a lot of those relationships for a long time. And I guess I still have relationships with those people, quote unquote. It's just like, I might not be talking to that person right now, and that's my relationship with them. You know what I'm saying? Or it could be like, but our relationship is, I'll book you for a show or whatever, or like my relationship with you is that you're just my friend now, or like whatever. The love is still there. It's just the relationship changes.
Yeah, it just moves with life, I don't know. Yeah, no, it's pretty crazy. Love, life, relationships. Sam, where can we find you out on social media?
Oh, ITSBYMMAS. It's also my website is itsbymmas.com. It's also my Spotify, itsbymmas. It's also my Cash App, itsbymmas, and it's also my Venmo, itsbymmas.
And what is your social security number? She's on it, all right. Sam Benvi, ladies and gentlemen, I have to do that though.